Iran is warning of retaliation as tensions rise over claims Israel could undermine the emerging U.S. Iran agreement. Fresh strikes and counterfire along the Lebanon front are raising concerns about a wider regional escalation. The renewed violence is fueling questions about whether the fragile ceasefire process can survive. Tehran says it remains committed to its allies as the future of the resistance axis comes into focus. Israeli strikes reportedly killed at least 4 people in Lebanon's Nabatea governorate on June 16. According to reports, multiple vehicles were targeted in separate attacks across southern Lebanon. The strikes came despite ongoing efforts to secure a broader regional ceasefire. Hezbollah responded by launching rockets toward Israeli troops operating in southern Lebanon. Israel said several of the incoming rockets were intercepted by its air defense systems. The Israeli military later announced that it had destroyed the launcher used in the attack. The IDF also reported striking a suspicious vehicle near its operating area. According to the military, troops fired warning shots before carrying out an airstrike. The latest exchange marked another escalation along the already volatile Lebanon front. Residents returning to damaged communities say fears of renewed fighting continue to grow. Iran's Khatam al-Anbiya headquarters has issued a fresh warning directed at Israel. The command says Israel should expect a strong response if military operations in Lebanon continue. Iranian officials argue that Lebanon remains a key element of the broader U.S. Iran understanding. Tehran insists that any lasting agreement must include an end to Israeli operations in Lebanon. Iran says the wording of the proposed agreement leaves no doubt that Lebanon is included in the understanding. Pakistani officials involved in mediation say the deal envisions a halt to fighting across all regional fronts. However, both Israel and the United States have disputed Tehran's interpretation of the agreement. The final text of the memorandum has not yet been made public and remains unsigned. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israeli forces will remain deployed in southern Lebanon. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi argues the conflict cannot be considered over without an Israeli withdrawal. Iranian negotiator Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf has urged Washington to pressure Israel to leave the territory. Reports suggest Hezbollah received assurances that Iran would continue raising the issue during future talks with the United States. The developments come after President Trump publicly criticized Israel's latest attacks on Beirut ahead of the proposed Iran agreement.
Can this deal survive if Israel attacks Lebanon?
It can, and I consider that the minor war. Iran's a big one, but we have that a little pinprick out there that constantly rears its head, and that's Hezbollah. And, I was very responsible for Syria, and the man that's running Syria now is a person that I put there along with President Erdogan and some others. He's done an amazing job of pulling it together. He's not a Boy Scout, but he's done an amazing job of pulling it together. And he is very good with Hezbollah, does not like them. And I'll tell you what, Israel's fighting Hezbollah too long, and too many people are being killed. And you don't have to knock down an apartment house every time you're looking for somebody, because there are a lot of people in those apartment houses, and they're not all Hezbollah, that I can tell you. And I suggested to Israel to let Syria take care of Hezbollah. Because to be honest with you, I think they do a better job of doing it. And I didn't like Syria. I didn't like where 2 hours before we're signing the agreement that there was an attack in Lebanon, in Beirut. It was right in. It wasn't like in the southern side, and it was in Beirut. I did not like that. I let them know that. I didn't like it, not at all. But I think that Syria, he's pulled that country together amazingly quickly. He's very capable, and he's been very good for me. He's protected everything that I've asked for. He's done. And if Israel can't do the job without killing everyone else, he'll do the job. Syria will do the job.
Are you frustrated with Netanyahu, sir?
No. We had a great relationship. We're talking about some end details. I didn't like that he did an attack based on there was a very minor little thing with some drones that were released, and he ends up doing I saw that attack. I saw where that bomb went. Did you see what happened? That was a vicious, that was too much. You can do too much also. But we've had a very effective relationship. Without the United States, there would be no Israel. Without me, there would be no Israel, because no other president was willing to do what I did. I've had a great relationship with Bibi, but now Bibi has to be more responsible with respect to Lebanon. Lebanon used to be a great country. It was a country where you had professors, doctors, lawyers. The great intellect was in Lebanon. Now it's terrible. I would say of all countries, they've been treated the worst. And they can't defend themselves. And they have Hezbollah, which is a problem for them. So, no, I'm not happy with the way Israel has handled themselves with Lebanon and with Hezbollah. They should have been able to do the job faster. It just goes on forever. And when that happens, it throws a negative light on the big deal, and that's the deal with Iran. So when you ask me about Bibi, an unbelievable relationship. But Israel would have been blown up a long time ago had I not gotten involved.
Iran's Quds Force commander Esmail Qani has reappeared in public after spending months out of view during a period of heightened regional tensions. Qani's return marks his first major public appearance since the outbreak of the Iran-US conflict. Speaking to Iran's Kabar network on June 15, Qani said Hamas would soon rebuild and recover. Qani also claimed that the so-called axis of resistance emerged stronger from the conflict despite months of war. Esmail Qani said, and I quote, "No one can stand against Hezbollah in Lebanon, and everything you have seen from Hezbollah in Lebanon is only the tip of the iceberg. Bab al-Mandab is one of the winning cards of the resistance front, and if necessary, other cards will also be revealed. Do not get involved with the resistance front. Wherever you confronted the resistance, you are left with no dignity," unquote. Qani claimed the war had placed both the United States and Israel under growing strategic and political pressure. Qani said Hezbollah stood firmly alongside Iran throughout the conflict and remained a key part of the resistance front. The commander argued that Hezbollah's true military capabilities have still not been fully revealed. According to Qani, everything seen so far represents only a fraction of the group's actual power. Esmail Qani insisted that neither Israel nor the United States would be able to defeat Hezbollah. Qani described the Bab al-Mandab Strait as one of the resistance front's most important strategic assets. The commander warned that additional capabilities could be revealed if the confrontation continues to escalate. Qani urged Washington and Tel Aviv not to challenge what he described as the resistance front. He claimed previous confrontations had left Iran's adversaries weakened, frustrated, and unable to achieve their objectives. Qani's remarks signaled that Tehran continues to view allied regional groups as a key source of strategic leverage. As the Lebanon front heats up once again, Mujtaba's key ally Hezbollah has unveiled what appears to be a new missile threat, adding another layer of danger to the northern theater. Footage released by Hezbollah on June 13 appeared to show the launch of a ballistic missile, marking a visible escalation from the group's usual mix of rockets and drones. Military observers who studied the video said the weapon closely resembled Iran's Arman or Babel missile, suggesting a direct link to Tehran's expanding arsenal. The clip purportedly showed the missile being used against Israeli positions in southern Lebanon on June 9, indicating that the system may already be in frontline service. The Ababil is described as a single-stage, solid-fuel ballistic missile, optimized for quick, short-notice strikes that give defenders very little time to react. Reports claim this may be the first operational use of Iran's Arman or Babel missile by Hezbollah, signaling a new level of trust and technology transfer between Tehran and the group. Arman, also known as a Babel, is believed to be an Iranian short-range ballistic missile system designed for use in nearby theaters like Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon. It is a single-stage missile that uses solid fuel propulsion, allowing it to be stored ready to fire and launched with very little preparation time. The system is designed for rapid battlefield strike missions, giving commanders the ability to hit targets quickly once coordinates are confirmed. Its primary role is to strike military targets such as troop concentrations, artillery positions, logistics hubs, and command posts behind the front lines. Mounted on mobile launchers, Arman Ababil offers improved mobility and survivability, making it harder for opponents to track and destroy before launch. The missile is associated with Iran's broader, expanding missile arsenal, which Tehran sees as a core pillar of its deterrence and regional influence strategy.